All right. So the first idea is I want to start with the selling a like subscription service to unlimited designs for Cricut. So Cricut, for people that don't know, is like a tabletop CNC machine that crafters use. It's like huge market share. It's one of these companies that's like in the billions that nobody knows about. So basically how they make money is it's kind of like a printer company, right? Where it's like they sell this like high ticket item and then they basically sell materials to these same people over and over again. So the test that I ran was I was like, you know what? I wonder if I can get AI to basically make all of these graphic designs like that are SVGs. And these are the files that they use on these machines. And so did that. And then I was like, cool. So like, let's just go find how many like different keyword phrases that are related to like Cricut files or SVG files. So if you go on like Etsy, there's like millions of these shops that sell these types of things, right? And so anyway, this kind of evolved into, I was like, okay, we could basically at scale with AI make these SVG files based off of target keywords that people are already searching. We know there's an audience that already like buys these or wants these. So now how do we get this in front of them? So if you go on Facebook, you can target people that have an interest in Cricut, the website. So we ran ads to them just to a Shopify store, and I created a bundle of SVGs. It was like, I think 20 different SVGs that were all like horse related, right? Like floral horse SVG and like floral horse head SVG, like all these different, variations of it. We were getting less than $1 downloads of this thing. So like imagine you want to make a list of 10,000 customers, like you just go and basically spend like $5,000 and suddenly you have an email list to 0 to 1 this. Then what you sell to them, and there's already companies that are doing this that are huge. One of them is called Creative Fabrica. They're doing, I think, around like 30 million a year. They're funded. It's ridiculous. It's some European company that, again, nobody has ever heard of. But what they do is they sell an unlimited subscription to the SVGs that are on the site. So then it's a recurring revenue. So what you get them in the door with is this free package, and then just put them in a drip email nurture. That's basically like one unlimited SVGs. You can create this. So why this opportunity exists now and why it's easier than it was previously is because you can make all of this different like files types like at scale with AI, and you couldn't do that previously. So like 5 years ago, if you wanted to do this, you'd have an offshore team of like thousands of graphic designers that would be just yeeting these out into existence and then putting them on your site. Now you can do that same thing with like these tools like background removing tools, and then just like upscaling like tools. And then you basically like take that upscaled black and white file, turn it into an SVG, like that whole thing that I just described. There's APIs that exist for every single one of those. So like, again, when we made that little bundle that was like these 20 different things, that what we did is like they generated in Discord. We had a bot download them. We then had a GitHub repo upscale them. We then hit an API to remove background. We then hit an API to turn it into an SVG. And that package was all created with no human intervention. All we did was just provide the target keywords that we already knew that people were searching for. So basically, you could 0 to 1 this marketplace overnight, get your initial customers, and then the long-term play with this is you then go and you build like hundreds of thousands of these landing pages on your marketplace and get those to rank organically for SEO, which creates more inbound. You give them like, when they sign up, they get one free bundle download or something, and then you upsell them again into that subscription. And when you think about the size of this market, like this is easily a $10 million a year company. Like you could do this tomorrow. Like I want to do this so bad. But again, it's just like one of these things that we just don't have time for. So anyways, happy to dive deeper on any of that, but yeah.
So I don't know if I live under a rock, but I had never heard of Cricut.
It was on MFM at one point. I think it was like 2 years ago. And I was just laughing to myself when they mentioned it. Cause so I've been selling in the print on demand space since like 2010, right? So really early in that, made a bunch of money in it, lost even more money in it because I had no idea what I was doing early on and like how to build brand and actually like do it well. But yeah, so that's like kind of why I know this exists. And this probably was like during like the late days of the pandemic that they'd like brought this up on one of the shows. And again, we know that like this space exists because there's so many people. Like when you look at Etsy, majority of their sellers are these people that own these machines, right? And so what they're selling on Etsy and like driving all their revenue for Etsy is literally just like custom, tumbler mugs, but they're building this with like basically like these SVG files and then whatever materials that they're buying and actually using on the printer to like, make these die cuts or, whatever it is that they do that they add to these customized products. So,
and if you were going to build an MVP of this, how much money do you think it would require?
I think you could get this off the ground for like 10 grand, like 100%. Like 10 grand and the 5 grand in ad spend. Like you just use like Shopify already has like a subscription feature. And I would just use like off the shelf tools. Long term, it would like you would hit limitations with the amount of collections and like landing pages you could build on Shopify. I say that, but like there's also this like thing you can do with Shopify. Just we could go into this. This is another company that's on the list, so we can come back to this. But Shopify just released this ability to like you basically make these subfolders, and then we figured out how to use Cloudflare to like bulk create collection pages. So traditionally, Shopify has an API rate limit that's like not great if you have like a ton of SKUs. So say you have 100,000 SKUs and you want to make 10 million landing pages for long tail keywords related to the SKUs on your platform. You just like couldn't do this, right? And so we basically figured out how to do this with like the technology, like this Cloudflare and what Shopify offers now technology. But the kicker was that we could have AI write SEO content based off of those keyword phrases. So again, when you're saying like SVG horse bundle, it could write all of the content and that would go on that page. So again, when you look at like these huge marketplaces, like house.com as an example, like how do they actually make money? It's because they have millions of landing pages that all rank for all of these keyword phrases. And they're basically just brokering traffic. Like that's actually what the business is when you look at a marketplace. Like how marketplaces actually make money is they broker traffic for transactions. And then they make even more money off of the ads that they're selling on the platform. Like if you look at the like P&L of an Amazon as an example, like where they actually make revenue is not the marketplace fees. It's on people bidding on these specific items. And the reason for that is like there's a floor on how low you can go on product costs, right? And like the margin you can squeeze out of that. But there's no ceiling on ad spend that people can go. Right. So it's like it can go up infinitely. And you see this already in Google, but we're just like, for example, if you look at the lawyer space, some CPCs, depending, like if you look at like DUI lawyer, Denver, right? Like the CPC on it's like $110, right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But when you look at the value, like if they close one of those, that's like a $15K deal for that lawyer. So of course it's like that, right? It basically can go up infinitely as high as the market can sustain it, but you can't decrease the cost. Like the cost has a floor. So anyways, to get back to this idea of like how cheaply you could do it, I think that you could probably get this off the ground for like 10 grand. And then it's just like, you'd have to have like a little bit of technical knowledge to kind of like piece together all this. But again, our MVP was like a human put in like, something into a Discord channel, downloaded, and then just hit these public like API endpoints. Like it's not, a Python script could do that whole thing, right? So
your marketplace point, I just want to talk about that for a second because I think it's really, really smart. So the best marketplaces to me are really niche with high intent. So yes, Amazon has a lot of intent, but it's not, which is amazing. Like you're in the buying mood, you want to make a purchase, and a lot of people buy on Amazon. But at the end of the day, like it's pretty horizontal. Whereas this, your idea here, it's like a pretty specific type of person. And just like scanning YouTube right now, it seems like a lot of women, moms,
100%.
Yeah. So 100%. Moms seem to be really into it. I was chatting with a buddy today who's building a marketplace for elder care. Like, your parents are getting older. They need someone to come in house.
That's like a great idea.
Yeah, assisted living like in your house. So he's building a marketplace around that. Super smart, because not only are they going to make money on the transaction of just like bringing you to connect you with this elder care person, but now all of a sudden you can sell them like 500 other things because you know where they are in their life cycle.
Yes, exactly. Also, they're like typically historically like a high net worth individual because they've accumulated that wealth over their like whole lifespan, right? I want to kind of pull out a piece of this as well on the marketplace side. Like I think that right now, like every marketplace could be disrupted like with AI tools, right? So like you have these huge players like Amazon. I think you could carve out these subsets like for all of these different niches that exist within these large marketplaces. And like historically, like you'd have an engineering team of 1,000 people and they would be working on this massive marketplace. And it's like, yo, we just, again, like in our test that we did, so my friend has this shop, she has like 10,000 SKUs. And so we're like, all right, that Shopify thing I was talking about, let's just like throw up 100,000 landing pages and see what happens. And we'll do some like auto indexing on the back, just like submitting to Google over and over again. So like overnight increased her organic traffic by 10% and increased her organic impressions by like about 20%. So, I mean, again, super small test. It was only like over a 6-month period, validated the idea. But I'm just thinking about that for like any subs, like custom koozies or like, you know, any of these kind of weird niche spaces. You could basically build out these sites now for so cheap of cost. Like I think that there's this huge opportunity for founders to just go and do these things if they want to create like a really powerful cash flowing business. And like this is actually where I see the opportunity in programmatic SEO. Like everybody's like, you know, I'm going to write 100,000 blog posts with AI from like its general knowledge. Like, all right, that's kind of cool, but like, what if I do like 10 million product landing pages on a website, right? And like all it's selling is print on demand products. You're at that scale, like you're talking about as many like pages as an Etsy, and then building like, okay, how do I build links to this to actually get this to rank? It's like just reach out to like mommy bloggers and be like, do you want a free product off this? Like pick one of these, I'll send it to you. Like do a post on your site, and like that just costs you $8 to build a link that has a DA of 50. Like that's the like economics of the business here from like a marketing standpoint. So